Okay, I've said I don't want to become a Bible review channel or anything like that. But if you just watched my last video from a couple of weeks ago, you know that I was unboxing the ESV study Bible. And I've done a few videos about the LSB and certain Bible translations, things like that. I'm not trying to get my name out there to get free stuff. I'm not spending $300, $400 a month on Bibles to try and review. I buy stuff that I use and I talk about it on here. And a while back, for my own a Christmas present to myself from myself and a birthday present, I turned 41 this year. I bought myself the LSB. This is goat skin leather. You all saw the unboxing, and it's got the big flop to it. If you like that sort of thing. Overall, okay, for my review, it gets 5 stars. It gets 4.5. Okay, I like the LSB translation. I think it's a great update to the NASB translation. If you watch my last, my funeral, I don't know. When I did a video a while back, I said, this is my perfect Bible, this NASB. I love the NASB translation. I love the ESV translation. Don't get me wrong. I think ESV and NASB, they go back and forth as number 1, number 2 favorite translations. But NASB almost always is top 1 or 2 or 1 anyway, you get the point. What I like about this Bible is if you go to the beginning of a chapter, for instance, this is Isaiah, okay? And when you go in, it's got details about it. It's got a little outline of the whole book. And it's not a study Bible, but it's something there. It's got references in the side, and that's all I really need, okay? I like the stuff at the very beginning, because that's kind of when I'm maybe getting ready to preach out of a book I don't normally preach. I go to that and I'll read the summary of the book, and then I'll read the entire chapter or the entire book itself of the Bible, unless it's Psalms, because Psalms is kind of 150 chapters. And each psalm is different, but I'll read a few psalms around it or connected psalms. I'll go with a reference Bible. I'll look at other psalms that are similar and so forth. And then I will pray, read my Bible, read a little more, and then get into some commentaries and study Bibles and start kind of shaping thoughts around a passage. But I like that intro, because sometimes that helps me think and start to formulate a thought pattern about the book. Now, maybe the intro is wrong, right? That's why I go ahead and still read the entire book that I'm preaching out of. But I'm looking for those things, whether or not they're right, wrong, whatever. It helps me kind of get started on a path. Now, with that said, the LSB that I unboxed a while back, it does not have that. This is Zechariah. It just says the book of Zechariah in red right there. And then you get right on into the book of Zechariah. And it's an inside column, if you can see this. Okay, these are the references. Whereas the NASB, it was over on this side. That doesn't matter to me. I actually kind of like the idea of having the references in the gutter like that. Because to me, I like having the rest of the page. If I want to just kind of hold my Bible like this and just read it, I can, whatever. While I'm preaching or something, if I'm walking and I'm preaching and I'm holding my Bible, I can do like that. So it loses a half of a star for the intro thing. Okay, that's how minor of an issue that is. That it doesn't have anything like that. It's a reference Bible without a lot of reference. I mean, it does have a lot of reference. Let me back up a second. There are a lot of things in the side columns, and it's indexed. I bought the indexed one just because I don't have a lot of indexed Bibles, and I thought that would be kind of nice and different. And I love the way the index is. The little stickers or whatever they have on the pages are very nice. They're very, they feel like they're going to last a long time and not wear out. Or some, I used to have an index Bible, and it was like each book tab or whatever wore out after a while. It was an old NIV that I had in junior high or high school, probably both. Anyway, so that's my one small gripe. The other gripe I have is the cover. Now, I recently got an email from 316 Publishing that said some people are complaining about the binding, that it's coming loose. I don't have that problem, okay? But the cover, it feels like it is super loose with the Bible. Now, I know it's a generous yap, okay? I know what that means, and I know it's supposed to have that, but it doesn't feel like a firm cover, and I don't know. I like the floppiness, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like it bubbles. You see that? Like, you see how it does? Like, I don't know if I like that so much. Again, not a deal breaker. I still love that Bible. I'm glad I bought it because I preach out of it every week. I read my devotions out of it every week. Is it the perfect Bible? No. And even with my favorite NASB, it's not exactly perfect. I'm sure there's stuff I could complain about with it. For instance, 2 black ribbons. Couldn't have did one in a different color? Why 2 black and then 1 red? Could have did brown. Could have did one in white. I don't know. Whatever. There's always something you can complain about, right? But the LSB overall, I really enjoy it. Now, the cover, everything else, the one thing that I have kind of gotten some flack on from people who insist King James is, this is good enough for the Apostle Paul. Why aren't we still using King James? And who translates it accurately and blah, blah, blah. Okay. One translational thing I do not like, and I just want to be clear. 1 Corinthians 12. Okay. When you are getting a Bible that was translated by the folks at the Master's Seminary, John MacArthur's crew, and they go out of their way to change a word, it's kind of irritating. Now, I don't blame 316 Publishers. I don't even hate it that's in my Bible, but it's just something to be aware of. The Greek word hermeneia in 1 Corinthians 12:10 means interpretation. It does not mean translation. The NASB, other translations of the Bible get this right. But the LSB translators, for whatever reason, took hermeneia to mean translation. Now, I understand they're cessationists. I understand they don't believe the gifts are for today. I understand that the idea of calling the gift of interpretation has opened the floodgates to some hyper-charismatic weirdos. Hey, I'm fighting in the trenches with those alongside you guys. Believe me, I'm Pentecostal and they weird me out. All right. So just know I'm not okay with that, with some of the weird stuff they do, but you shouldn't have done that. Okay. We can all probably agree that's a bad translation. Now in mine, for mine, you can tell I just circled it right there, circled it in green. I wrote the Greek out and I wrote the actual word just because I know, okay? I know that. Somebody out there, some person who does not do any Bible research, they're going to pick it up and they're going to watch a video like mine, probably not mine. And they're going to hear some guy say, this is the most accurate translation, and I love it, and it's basically the NASB better. It's like NASB 2.0, and everybody should buy an LSB Bible, okay? Yeah, great. I love the LSB, okay? Again, 4.5 out of 5 stars, all right? But it's not a perfect translation. There probably never will be a perfect translation. If you don't like the way they take Lord to mean to be Yahweh, for example, or you don't like doulos becoming slave, I think that's more accurate. That's my preference. I agree with that. I don't like the translation interpretation thing of 1 Corinthians 12, but I know that. A while back in one of my Bible studies here at my church, I had the crew look at John 3:16 from the LSB, which is a more recent translation, and compare that with the Passion Translation, which is trash. And I love you enough to give you the truth about that. It is trash. It's not a translation at all. If someone ever gave me a copy of the Passion Translation, I would thank them for the extra supply should there ever be another toilet paper shortage. Okay? So you know how I feel about that. But I wrote out John 3:16, and I wrote out John 3:16, and I said, now find the bad translation. Everybody, boom, zoomed in on the Passion Translation, knew immediately what it was, because it's bad. Changing hermeneia from interpretation to translation may not be that big of a deal, but it's bad. They shouldn't do that, okay? Again, not a deal breaker for me, but it is a pet peeve. All right. If you don't like Pentecostals, if you don't like Calvinists, whatever the case may be, you shouldn't change the Word of God to fit your agenda. All right. And that's what I feel like they did there. Again, I'm still going to use it. If I ever preach out of 1 Corinthians 12 from the LSB translation, which I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just use my NASB or an ESV Bible to do that. Then if I did use the LSB, I would take time to say, this is a poor translation. And the reason I like the LSB, the reason I like the NASB over something like the CSB is because when I have preached out of the CSB in the past, I've had to spend time saying, well, you know, a better translation would be how the ESV takes it or how the NASB says it, or, you know, and I don't like doing that. It takes up time. And it feels like, why not just preach out of the NASB then? So I do. And so I don't like doing that with the LSB, but all things considered, I really do like the Bible itself. I do like the translation with that one exception. And I'm not going to say I endorse it, that you need to like it too, but if you want to check it out, there's free resources online. You can download a copy of it. You can check it out on the Bible app. You can check it out on Bible Gateway now. Logos has it for, I think, $10. So, I mean, you can get a copy of it in your own hands and make your own assumption based on the translation. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you plenty of stuff to think about and consider if you're purchasing an LSB Bible. Again, the inside column reference, great. The Bible itself, wonderful. And yeah, I did just make a really bad kissing noise. Overall, it's great, okay? 4.5 out of 5 stars, all right? So, God bless you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.